Hey guys, I'm here in California again, and I'm sitting with my man Mark and filming the story. Wanted to hear another story, and I have a story of a mob guy in New York. He was a member of the Gravano family. His name was Tommy Karate. His actual name was Tommy Patera, and his nickname was Tommy Karate. He went to Japan, took some karate lessons, and he earned that nickname. Real tough guy, real no games type of guy stuff. I could give you a brief thing. He was used many, many times. One time, John Gotti was going to kill a guy who was in our family, Willie Boy Johnson, and he gave the contract to Eddie Lino and Fat Sally, two made guys in the Gambino family. They were friendly with Tommy Karate. Karate had a reputation that was unbelievable. So they got him themselves. It wasn't an order from John or myself. They did it on their own, and they went to Tommy Karate and they said, listen, this guy, Willie Boy Johnson, doesn't know you. You would probably come up on him a lot easier than we could. And if you would come with us on this hit, oh, sure, my pleasure. And he went on the hit, and they hit Willie Boy Johnson. Tommy Karate shot him 15 times. Now, you could see the fact that it's so overdone, shooting a guy once or twice, and shot him in the head. Why would you just keep shooting? That's Tommy Karate. He came from Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, and had a reputation. Wasn't a bad guy. I was friendly with him. He was just a tough guy. So the story starts with his wife was a heroin, not a heroin, but a junkie. She always was on drugs, and she had a girlfriend. Her girlfriend's name was Phyllis Birdie, and they would take drugs together and get high together. And Tommy didn't like the idea, so Tommy grabbed both of them. And he said, listen, he told Phyllis Birdie, stop hanging out with my wife. I don't want her to take drugs, and I don't want you. You're a bad influence on her. I don't want you near her no more. And they left. Some time passed, and his wife, Tommy Karate's wife, OD'd while she was with Phyllis Birdie. They both got high, but Tommy's wife died. He went looking for her, this Phyllis Birdie, and he was hunting her all over the place. One day he called this guy, Frank Ganji, a guy who was in his crew. Another tough guy, wasn't a made guy, but a tough guy. And he's talking to him on the phone, and he heard a woman in the background. And he said, Frank, is that Phyllis? He said, yeah, she's here. She's here talking to me. What? Why? Hold her there. Don't let her leave. Of course, Frank Ganji held her there, talking to her, and he showed up. When he showed up, he grabbed her, banged her around a little bit, then shot her in the head. Stripped her nude, threw her in a bathtub, and made Ganji help him chop her in pieces. It was extremely gory. Frank Ganji must have been shitting in his pants. Just, it's not his. He was a tough guy, but this is another whole level. And on another hit, Tommy Karate gave an order to the guys who he was with, this guy Frank Ganji, and a guy named Billy Bright. They were together, and Tommy Karate gave them an order to take out this guy. This guy's name, he was a brother or son of a major drug guy. The drug guy was Mark Ryder. And he was with John Gotti, and he was major drug dealer. Heroin coming into the country, the whole 9 yards. And his son, Greg, was the target of Tommy Karate's hit. So he ordered Ganji and Billy Bright to take him out. They went out on the street like they were going to go to talk, and Billy Bright shot him multiple times and killed him in the street. Nobody knew who did what, basically. But Mark Ryder was definitely looking for who killed his son. And they didn't find him. They didn't know who did what. Later on, Mark Ryder went to prison. And in prison, he found out that Tommy Karate had given the order and that Frank Ganji and Billy Bright killed his son. He paid guys, AB guys, Aryan brothers, in prison, a lot of money to kill the people who killed his son. So Billy Bright, one time, and I was very friendly with him on the street. He was younger than me. I used to take care of him, that nobody bothered him. And I didn't even know he was that close with Tommy Karate. But he was walking in prison. He was in prison as well. And he was walking on a tier, and two AB guys were walking past him. As they passed each other, the AB guys pulled out pipes and smashed his head in, killed him. Revenge for Mark Ryder. So we'll go on with Tommy Karate. The story erupts that one day his guy, Frank Ganji, is on a date with a young girl, and they're driving. He goes through a light or a stop sign or something like that, and he gets pulled over by a cop. And the cop asks for his license and registration, gets out of the car, and he's starting to talk to the cop and tell him about murders and all kinds of stuff. The girl is sitting there listening. She don't know what's going on. Before you know it, the cops call the detectives. Detectives come down. They know who he is. They know what he's talking about, all kinds of murders. They say, hold up. And they call the FBI to send people down. FBI guys come down. They sit down. They don't sit down, they're standing up, but they look, talking to him, and he's telling them about all kinds of murders Tommy Karate ordered, and he's telling them everything. The FBI goes over to the car to this young girl and tell her, who are you? Do you know them? Do you know him? This, that, and the other, all these questions. She says, I'm on a date with him. That's all I know. I mean, I don't know him personally. I don't know about his life. I don't know about anything. So after a while of questioning, she really didn't know anything. She had no part in anything. They told her, go ahead, leave, go home. They let her go. She didn't go directly home. It was either that night or the next day. She came to me. She knew me from the neighborhood. And she said, Sammy, this and this happened. And they were talking about murders and this and that and the other thing. And so I said, did they question you? She said, yeah, they did. And what did you tell them? I was on a date with him, Sammy. I don't hardly know him. I just heard what he was saying. He was talking about murders and all kinds of things. He was talking about this guy, Tommy Karate, and all these things he was talking about. And I think he was drunk or high, or I don't know what he was. He was shaking. I mean, I don't know what it was. I says, all right, good. Don't tell anybody this story, which you just told me. No one. Not your family members, not your friends, no one. You could get yourself in big trouble. If somebody ever comes and talks to you about this, mention my name. Tell them I'm your uncle to come and see me. I'm going to take care of you. Okay, and I let her go. I immediately went to Tommy Karate's house. Now, I was there a couple of times. Like I said, I was friendly with him. I knew him. He was reasonable to talk to from the neighborhood. He knew everybody. But when he was coming at you, he's like a different guy. So when I went there a few times, he showed me books and magazines on how to dismember a body, hatchet, knives, all kinds of weird shit. And it threw me for a loop a little bit, but I knew he had that stuff. So when I got this information, I went to his house and I said, bro, a girl came to me and told me XYZ. What happened with Frank Ganji? Clean up your house, bro. You're going to get pinched, for sure. He asked me a few questions. I said, listen, I don't know. He asked me the girl's name. I said, forget the girl's name. Forget her name. And the next day after that, he did get arrested. I was in a gym that I used to go to. My ex-girlfriend Louise was there, and I was working out. I was talking to her. This guy walks in, a captain in the Genovese family, Ross Ganji, and he says, Sammy, can I talk to you for a minute? Seemed a little uptight, and I said, yeah, sure. What is it? He said, you put a rap on my nephew that he's a rat. Who's your nephew? Frank Ganji. Oh, he's your nephew? I didn't know he was your nephew. He said, but you called him a rat. Listen, bro, that's what I'm supposed to do. I told him the story about the girl, the whole thing. And I'm supposed to go to Tommy. He's a friend of ours. He's a made guy. My duty is to go to him, knowing he's going to get arrested, and try to help him clean up his house or do whatever the fuck he's got to do. Don't take a fucking attitude with me. And I didn't know he was your fucking nephew. Who's he related to? My sister. It's his son. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Go to your sister's house. Ask her where he is and if everything is okay. If I'm wrong, I will apologize to you. I'll apologize to the kid. It's a bad label to put on anybody. If I made a mistake, but that's what I'm supposed to do, according to Cosa Nostra. You know that. Yeah. He left huffing and puffing. He was a little angry. And he left. A day later, he's back at that gym. Louise is there again. We just got done working out. We were talking. I saw him coming in. I said, Louise, excuse me 1 minute. And I walked over. And he said, Sammy, I apologize. For what? He said, I talked to my sister. He's with the feds. He cooperated. And he's cooperating on everybody. He says, tell me the girl's name. I said, no way. She knows nothing but what I told you. I'm not giving up her name to nobody. Why? Because it's none of anybody's fucking business. She's not going to get touched. She's with me. Whatever you want to know, come to me. If I don't know the answer, I will go to her. I'm not making anybody talk to her. It didn't really matter. What's the sense of talking to her? And he forgot it. He didn't do anything. Frank Ganji cooperated and ratted on Tommy Karate, and Tommy Karate was arrested. He's never going to see the light of day again, more than likely. And the craziest part of this whole story with him is that when me and John Gotti get arrested in 1990, we go on a tier. It's a solitary tier. There's 8 cells. I'm in a cell. John Gotti's in a cell. Frankie Lucasio's in a cell. And in a cell across from us is Tommy Karate. Hey, Sammy, how you doing? Hey, Tommy. I know he's in huge trouble, but I'm in trouble myself. So he tells me, he says, look at this. You want to see my autopsy reports and stuff that they got? I said, why the fuck would I want to look at autopsy reports and stuff like that, Tommy? What's wrong with you, bro? You never cleaned up, right? No, they got everything. They got the magazines, they got videos, they got all my tools, they got everything, Sammy. All right. And I'm not interested in looking at your autopsy reports and stuff like that. Occasionally, they would let us all out, the 8 cells, on the tier by ourselves. Not all the time, but once in a while. Weeks later, they do that. They let us out. And he goes over to John Gotti to talk. And I don't know what happens. And then he comes to me and he says, Sammy, you're the underboss, right? Yeah, you know that, bro. He says, I went to talk to John, and John says, you're not on my level. You can't talk to me. He was only a made guy. Wasn't even a captain. So I told him, I said, listen, that's his right. He's a boss. He doesn't have to talk to you. But you said, I'm the underboss. I always talk to you, right? Yeah. Well, if you want to ask a question or you want to say something, come to me, talk to me. I'll give him a message. You don't have to go over to him. He doesn't want you to. He accepted that, but he was steaming mad. Then we got moved and transferred. I really didn't see him in prisons or anything like that. I heard stories up and down all over the place. That Mark Ryder story, getting even for his son, and on and on and on. Guys were going to court, they were getting pinched. I don't know, years went by when I heard from him. I was in prison, I did time, I came out, and I got a guy came over to me and gave me some pictures, some artwork, and he said, he's doing that artwork. Do you want to sell it for him? And you pick up the money and then you give it to him in prison, commissary and stuff. It was pretty good art. I looked at it, it was pretty good artwork. I did artwork myself. But I really didn't want to get involved in that. So I told him, no, the artwork is good, but I'm not going to start selling it and send the money to him. And he could sell it on his own from prison to somebody, a family member. I don't want to get involved in the artwork, in the case, or anything. I wanted to stay away with that as much as possible. Now it's, I believe he got arrested in 1990. So you do the math, it's, 35 years, 36 years now, going on 36 years. He's still alive. He was younger than me. I found out that he's about 10 years younger than me. I'm 80, so that makes him 70. A lawyer approached me a while ago and said, Sammy, could you help him? I said, how? How could I help him? Well, he's doing a life sentence. Well, we want to get him out at a release that he's done so much time, he's reformed, his health is not good. I said, listen, I could give you some sort of letter that I think he's not a threat to society. I could give you something like that. I'm not a doctor. I don't know about his health. And, you know, I don't know if I could influence the judge or anything in that matter to do anything. So I told him, give him my regards. Tell him I love him. Tell him to stay strong. And you guys, you know, you guys are lawyers. You do all of that. I don't think there's anything I could do. So my answer is, if I thought I could do something for you, I would help you. But I can't. And I'm not going to send a letter and lie about things. If you're going to ask me to do that shit, I can't do it, bro. And, you know, no matter what I say, it's going to be rejected by the court. You know, I'm not going to get in trouble over this. And, you know, if he had a problem with his family members or somebody's bothering somebody, let me know. I'll put a stop to it. I had cooperated. And when I was telling the government this story, they were just blown away. Tommy Karate is a very interesting guy with story after story, all kinds of different things. You know, articles came out of he killed 40 people, 50 people. I have no knowledge of that firsthand, but I've read stories about it, heard stories about it. As far as I knew him, and I don't know, maybe mob guys, one tough guy to another. We could talk. I knew he was a tough guy. I always respected him, but I was never afraid of him. He never gave me that feeling that I had to be afraid of him. We talked as friends. Just like, you know, when he was in prison, he knew I came to his house. I tried to give him the off. I gave him the off. He just didn't want to go with it. So the FBI was interested in a lot of details. I said, I don't know a lot of details of him. I know he's respected in the neighborhood. Who's his captain? I'm not sure. A guy named Anthony Spiro was a captain in that neighborhood. He was in the Gravano family, so was he. He was in our neighborhood a lot. He could be under him. There was a guy, Sonny Red, who was in our neighborhood, another captain. He could have been with him. I never had a problem with him or a beef, so I don't know who his captain was. But there's stories about him all over the place. I mean, the research is incredible. I think some of it's true, and some of it, I don't know if it's true. I don't know if he killed 40 people. I was never had that kind of relationship. Another thing I did is that when I was in a witness unit, before I got out, and I bunked into Frank Angie. He's there. He's about 6'2", 6'3", big guy, strong, tough, even in prison. I could see what a psycho he is. We got to play handball or racquetball. We're playing racquetball. He's hitting the ball real hard. And with his other hand, he's smoking a cigarette at the same exact time. I said, bro, how do you do that? I'm huffing and puffing over here. You're smoking and playing and doing this, that, and the other thing. And one time, it was dinner time, we went for dinner. I got a line that some guy cut in right in front of me. So I say, hey, bro, there's a line. Don't cut in front of me, bro. We had words, very little, nothing major. He come flying over my shoulder with a crack. He hit him so hard, I seen the guy's face explode, and the guy went right down. That's the kind of guy he was. Even in prison, people were afraid of him. But I had asked him one time, what the fuck made you do that? You were getting a ticket. Why were you telling them about all those murders? He said, Sammy, I became to the point I was so afraid of Tommy, chopping people up and this and that and the other thing. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't do anything anymore. I was a little stoned when I was going out with this broad, and the cops pulled me over. I don't know what happened to me. I just started talking like a machine. Yeah, well, you not only buried him with that episode, got busted, but so many other guys got busted too, which you did. But and listen, I did the same thing. I don't really give a shit. I don't want to get into it with you. The last guy I wanted to get into it is with him anyway. I mean, he was big, tough, and it's fighting a maniac. They have no fear. They're weird. It's weird to fight somebody like that. Another time, I had an argument with two black guys. We were playing handball, and he come flying over again. I didn't see him coming. He banged into me and pushed me. He almost knocked me over, knocked me forward, and he hit this black guy a shot. Boom. Put him right down. The other black guy, they knew him. Everybody was leery of him. That's how tough he was. The other black guy backed right up. And he was going to stomp on him. I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's enough, bro. It's a fucking argument. And he stopped. We got shipped in different places. It was good doing time with him. It wasn't bad. I knew him for years, so. And he was weird when he did all that. He was weird in prison. He must have been weird all his life. It's one of those things that happens, but I never saw him again. I read something that he got out of the witness protection unit. He went on with his life. He disappeared. Maybe when you go into that, the marshals hide you. So the news or investigators, nobody could find him. Either he left the country, it's a snap job. So I'm not sure about that one way or another, but I am sure about all the other guys, Mark Ryder and everybody who was in my story. So guys, adios, amigos, and someday soon, I'm going to be with Mark, and I'm going to tell another story about the Plaza Suite. So I'll see you then.
Awesome. Thank you, Sammy. When I was designing the first Soft White Underbelly book, I realized that there were so many great portraits that weren't going to make it into that book. They just wouldn't fit. And once I saw how well that first book sold, I knew I'd have to design a second book. This second book is finally ready to ship. Like the first one, this book has a collection of some of the best portraits from Soft White Underbelly, accompanied by a quote from that person's interview. This book features another group of Rebecca portraits, as well as a collection of color images of the Whitaker family, and plenty of others. You can order yours for $125 or $150 for a signed copy at softwhiteunderbelly.org. Again, like the first book, once this book is sold out, I will not be printing more of them. The portraits are what Soft White Underbelly is all about, and these two books contain the best of all that work. Thank you for watching.